like we talked about, women athletes tend to suffer, and there is good data for this. They suffer from much higher rates of depression and higher rates from anxiety. And I think that it really handicaps a lot of women athletes because I think that they also, many women athletes, and we talked about this at the forum, Myriam, this is one of our big discussions, is many women athletes are juggling a lot of things. They're juggling their sport, maybe they have kids or family that they have to worry about. Maybe they're taking care of their primary caregivers of elderly parents. And so a lot of women athletes have many things to juggle, and that causes stress. And so I think it's probably true that even for women athletes more than for male athletes, learning how to manage that stress and balancing all these things is important.
I have a really good follow-up question on this. One of the athletes asked, what are good distressors at the end of a long athletic day? I often feel both mentally and physically tired after training. Hobbies such as watching TV, hanging out with friends, valuable distressors, or is it better to try and push myself to do a more productive activity to balance out my day?
I love that question. I talk about this a lot too. This is actually, if you're a parent out there, this is a great conversation also to have with your kids, because, I always say there's adaptive stress responses and maladaptive stress responses, right? So there are certain reactions you could have to stress that are good. They help with the stress and they also help you. For example, like the meditation we talked about, praying, being outside in nature, eating a healthy meal, visiting friends, doing a hobby. Those are all adaptive responses. Then there are maladaptive responses. There are responses, you could do them for stress, but they're actually hurting you. And that would be things like drinking alcohol, having dangerous sex, gambling, using drugs, doing risky behaviors like driving your car too fast. So those are maladaptive. So in my mind, as long as you're doing the adaptive stuff and you're not doing the maladaptive stuff, you're probably in pretty good shape. And the thing is, this is one of those things that what's better for you and what's better for me may be different. From a sports recovery standpoint, we know that if you've had a tough game and you do some sort of a mild physical activity, like a little hike, a brisk walk afterwards, stuff like that, we know that's good for muscle development. So I certainly, because you're athletes, I certainly recommend that you do that frequently, these kind of light physical activities. As far as hobbies, I think the best hobby is the one you're going to do and the one that'll keep you out of trouble. So if you like playing guitar, I don't like watching TV, but if you like watching TV and that makes you happy to do it for a little time, certainly seeing friends afterwards, if you could do that stuff and that'll prevent you from de-stressing by getting drunk, then do it. And I think whatever will keep you in the adaptive zone instead of the maladaptive zone is something that I recommend.